What's up, everybody? The Battle for Your Mind, Part 1, Episode 348 of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. I'm breaking this down into 2 parts, so I'll probably record for about 8 to 10 minutes, stop, and I'll come right back live on here, leveraging my time. I had some stuff on my mind, and I figured it would be too much for one podcast. That way I stay ahead of the game, too, stay ahead of the curve. Always got to leverage what you do. Yeah, I'm going to make a note of that, to do another podcast about that for you guys. So we went skiing yesterday. My brothers, their families, us. Obviously, Devon's a big skier, if you've heard me telling these stories in the past. Yesterday, I think, was my 4th or 5th time. But when I say 4th or 5th time, guys, I've got, the last 3 times I went with the kids, right? I get to go down to bunny slopes a few times, and I get to go down to the next one, whatever that is. Maybe it is still a bunny, like once. So I took a lesson yesterday, but I'm not getting a lot of reps. But even coming off the bunny slope, right, there's a fear element in my mind. That's the reason I got trained to ride my motorcycle, got my motorcycle license, and I did that. There was a fear component, right, when I'm going a certain speed. So I'd say that and heights are the 2 things where I feel like I don't have control the way I should, which is a lesson that I've got to keep internalizing and working through. And that's why I put myself in those situations. Now, even coming off the magic carpet on this little hill, I crashed half the time. I would go right out to the left. Well, guess what's right out to the left? The drop off. And I did it once with Emma because I was trying to take Emma on, down the hill, which I could do successfully. But getting off of that, working on my turn, it's foreign territory. But I kept saying, I'm just going to keep doing it. And then I got to one shot on the intermediate, the next level. Wiped out a few times, but that's okay because the battle is up here. It's in the mind. When I look at things I've done in my life, physical pain is usually something I can deal with fairly, I don't want to say easily, but I've been accustomed to. Like when I look at my knee injuries, my knees were mangled. I'm not talking about just tearing one ligament or having a meniscus, and I'm not downplaying that, but my knee injuries were another universe. They don't bother me at all, right? I worked through that. I leveraged that. When I just got back from my run, I did about 3.5 miles this morning. It was about a 9.5 minute pace. Pretty good for me. There's a lot of self-talk, which I'm going to get into. And the reason that I push myself physically, right, and I keep having these ideas of how to do that more and more, like this year with some of my physical goals as far as sub 6 minute mile, running a full marathon, body fat at 7% throughout the summer. Push yourself physically until you get to that point where you're chasing it, where your brain kicks in, where it's you versus your mind, right? Because you're going to get fatigued. And the body could keep going, but now it's you versus your mind. You're squaring up, and you're saying, "Okay, I'm gonna win, or you're gonna win." Who is that voice? Where's that coming from? But it's you versus you, and it's the battle in your mind, and it's a real thing. So I call it psychotic pain. That's what I look for, and that's why I'm trying to put myself in those situations. Those are the only things, and I'm very clear, and I guarantee you, if you look at your life too, those are the things that really make you feel threatened, right? So the psychotic pain, chase that. And even when I remember my first big psychedelic trip, it wasn't anything physical, right? I went to a deep, dark spot in my mind, and I had to deal with it, and it was scary. But I worked through it. I got through it. Maybe this is because, and maybe you can relate, I dealt with death at a very early age. I was 6 or 7 when my first friend died. And as a young kid, you hear of death, right? You're 5, 4, 6. You start conceptualizing it. Maybe your grandparents died, great-grandparents. But this was the first time that it just hit me so hard in the face that I could die at any moment because someone else my age just died. And that wasn't supposed to happen. And for the next X amount of years, 3, 4 years, I obsessed over death, which might sound strange, but I think that gave me a drive, an urgency built into my brain that this is it. This moment right here is what you got. What are you going to do with it? And anytime self-doubt comes up, and I always think it's funny when I'm candid with people and I tell them how much self-doubt and lack of confidence I have, they say, you really have that? Guys, I think we all struggle with that. I think we all deal with that, and it's constant. But as soon as I start battling my mind, and I used to do that through the physical, right? I do that through the physical, and then I brush up on it and touch up on it through my readings, meditations, solitude, that type of thing. But the self-doubt is there. What are you going to do when it comes up? And the self-doubt will grow depending on your self-talk. So you have to develop a level of self-awareness within your mind that allows you to assess. Say, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is the inner dialogue that I'm having? It all comes down to your self-talk, guys. The self-talk cannot be understated. It is the first step in the creative process. You are made in the image and likeness of the ultimate creator. Your life is a reflection of the self-talk that you've had. When I was out on my run this morning, I shattered my old time for that route by like 4 minutes. You know what I was saying when I would feel tired? I don't get tired. I don't feel tired. I feel great. I'm unstoppable. And I was saying this out loud, listening to my audio phones, my ear AirPods, whatever they're called. But I was saying that, and my brother Shane sent a great video out for the Mount Washington group. We're going to be doing that at the end of March with Jesse Itzler, and it was about that self-talk. And I thought it was very timely. It was a great video. Maybe I'll share on one of my social media, on here or Instagram, whatever. But the self-talk. And then also think, guys, when you set your goals, they should be stuff that's going to challenge you. If they don't challenge you, that means you're losing the battle in your mind. If these things are easy, you're copping out. You're taking the easy road. If you take the easy road, guess what? Your brain atrophies, your mind atrophies, it shrinks. It's the most important muscle you have. And you've got to train it constantly and consistently. You have to train it. 2, be tougher, to be sharper, to get to the next level. Last thing I'll say for part 1 is with the physical goals that I set for this year, and even the other goals I have for business and family, they're all going to stretch me. And I'm either going to achieve these or I'm not. And the physical ones, guys, I know there's a possibility that maybe I physically cannot do some of this stuff, but I'm going to try. And I'm going to put it out there for you guys to see, right? You got to lead by example. Running a sub 6-minute mile, I know that's going to be incredibly tough. Running a marathon, incredibly tough. 7% body fat throughout the summer, incredibly tough. But that's what I'm after, right? That's the whole key, is chase that stuff. Chase the stuff that's going to make me physically very uncomfortable. So psychologically, I can deal with the psychotic pain. I grow up, come back bigger and stronger mentally. That's what I want. So that's what I got for you for part 1. Stay tuned. I'm going to start part 2 up here in a second.